But one of the things you talked about was finding the right partners, because multifamily is a team sport, and you need to have the right kind of partners to work with, because you're stuck with them for whatever period of time you have that deal. So what is
Absolutely.
it that you look for, and what is that one should be really looking for in a right partner? Now, obviously, a lot of people, a short answer they give is like, hey, as long as they have the same values and the same ideas, it's all good. But you want to go dive a little bit deeper into it and talk about it?
Sure, sure. And there's you're not going to know until you're in it with somebody, right? You cannot, there's no substitute for real life and the real experience. So you don't know, right? I mean, you get married to somebody, you think you know them pretty well, and then something horrific happens or whatever. You don't know how you're going to react. You don't know how she's going to react or he's going to react.
Hello, everybody. This is Sanjay from REI Secret Spill, Fast Track to Riches, where we spill the beans on all the secrets that you need to know about getting into the REI investments, as well as if whether you're a passive investor or an active investor or a student who wants to get into this. This is what we do. We bring you the truth in front of you. And today we have with us Todd. Todd has been in this business since 1999, and he's like a big brother who's always held my hand and showed me the ropes. I'm pretty sure today he is going to be in here doing the same thing. He's a straight shooter, and that's what I love about him. There's no bullshit when it comes down to Todd. So he just lays it out the way it is. So from him starting off with a W-2, which he really didn't like to work with, a whole lot of being a technical salesperson, not around engineers. He just felt he had a lawn business. He was an entrepreneur. He found his niche in real estate. So, Todd, welcome to REI Secret Spill, Fast Track to Riches.
It is great to be here, my friend. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you, Todd. I really appreciate that. But this is always going to be fun, because I always like to understand the journey. And you sure have a very interesting journey, because you started very young. And we'd like to hear about all that.
Yeah, so for some reason I've always had the entrepreneur gene, and so I've always been interested in working for myself or with a team. And my grandpa on my dad's side, Grandpa Schoengert, that's how you pronounce that long goofy name, is Schoengert. And he was a successful businessman, and he sent my dad a book, which was a whole laid out strategy on investing in what was, at the time, the Cadillac of residential rentals, which probably still is single family detached, all in within a 10-mile radius of your house. And it all made sense. It was perfectly laid out. My grandpa sent that book to my dad when I was about 14, and I don't know if my dad read it, but I did. And so from 14 years on, investing in real estate made perfect sense to me, and I always wanted to do it. Fast forward, went to college. I'm from the generation, probably like Sanjay, where, hey, get good grades, go to school, go to college, get a good job, that whole thing. So I think I would have, I don't know if I would have survived if I didn't go to college in my highly overeducated family, probably like yours, Sanjay. So went to college, but I was, like Sanjay said, I started a mowing business when I was a kid. I was chomping at the bit. My parents, when I was young, right, I wanted to work because I figured out, being poor sucks at some point pretty early. And I wanted to get out and hustle and make some money of my own. And so I kept asking. They finally thought I was old enough to work with the lawnmower blades and not injure myself. And so then I got that business going. But anyway, fast forward to college. After college, I had friends like Sanjay and others. We didn't meet then, but you remind me of my friends back then. And they all went into the computer industry, and they were all doing well. I'm like, I can do whatever they're doing. So I did that. I kind of fell into it. But I was always drawn back to real estate. And by within 5 or 6 years, and I did end up starting my own network integration company and a little tech company, because that's just typical me. And by 1999, I was brokering on the commercial side. So I was what was called a tenant rep, which means you're like a buyer's agent for office buildings and other things like that. So you represent businesses and help them negotiate their lease and get their space and all that stuff. So And then let me see, I'll just keep filibustering here, Sanjay. Then I had some buddies who wanted to buy a whole bunch of residential investment stuff. And my buddy said, and my buddy laid it out for me. I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. He just looked at me and goes, well, do you want to do it or not, stupid? I'm like, okay, I will broker those deals and partner with you guys. And so that's when I learned the residential investment side. And then here being in Phoenix, we got crushed in the Great Recession in our market and in general. So learned how to do a lot of distress sales and get people out from underneath what was an asset and now no longer is, and had to do that myself. I mean, the whole went all the way to zero, right? Bankrupt, divorced with a child involved, a whole bunch of stuff I didn't want to do, right? And never wanted to go bankrupt, but was like super anal about my credit. And so anyway, got through that. And now, how many ever years past that, I see that as a real asset. And I want to work with people who've had their asses kicked and got back up and turned it around, right? Because I've learned that if you're doing something, especially stuff that's difficult, you're going to get thumped and you're going to get knocked down. And the most important thing in life is how quick you stand back up. And and they get knocked down, pop right back up and keep going, and you never ever quit. That's the only way you lose. So fast forward to now with one team, we've got about 6,000 doors, and we got a healthy pipeline over there, and then got some other partners working on a mixed use ground up in the Carolinas, and then some Kansas City stuff. We're mostly Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas City, Louisiana. And I'm real partner driven. So I will do, if I have the right partners and it's the right market, the numbers work, I'll do the deal, right? But without the right kind of boots on the ground experts, I won't do the deal. And because like you said, Sanjay, kind of my superpower is connection and connecting with people. I get invited into a lot of deals. So that's how I'll end up, and the main partnership that we have, we can do side deals. There's no conflict there, right? So anyway, I'm sorry, that was like a 10-minute answer to a 2-second question. So let me pause myself.
I always like to let the experts talk, because that's when we'll get to learn. Because I think maybe it's my sales background, and my wife doesn't probably agree with this, but I always say that I'm a real good listener. I like to listen to people, but she always thinks that I talk a lot. So maybe someday, Todd, you might want to tell her that.
I hear the same thing at home, right? Hey, 2 ears, 1 mouth, right? 2 ears, 1 mouth, knucklehead. However, you can't be a good salesperson without communicating, and you cannot be a good salesperson without being a good listener. Absolutely. And they are both muscles. Communication's a muscle, listening's a muscle, gratitude's a muscle. It's all stuff that you have to work on.
Absolutely. So
and you are a good listener, Sanjay, by the way.
So Todd, I know we were having this conversation before, right? After you graduated from the beer university and getting into the engineering side of things and doing that part of it, and getting into real estate, and going through the cycles of the challenges that comes with recession and so forth, and you losing a lot of money, and some of the things. I think it must have been very hard for you getting up again, brushing off and going out. Like obviously, it must have been a little bit more easier for you, and a person like me, because we've been in sales, we've been, get knocked down many a times. Anytime we go on a sales call, the first thing that people will say is no. So you just have to shrug your shoulders, dust it off, and go out there back in the field.
Right.
That is one of the things which is consistency. But one of the things you talked about was finding the right partners, because multifamily is a team sport, and you need to have the right kind of partners to work with, because you're stuck with them for whatever period of time you have that deal. So what is it that you look for, and what is that one should be really looking for in a right partner? Now, obviously, a lot of people, a short answer they give is like, hey, as long as they have the same values and the same ideas, it's all good. But you want to go dive a little bit deeper into it and talk about it?
Sure. And there's you're not going to know until you're in it with somebody, right? There's no substitute for real life and the real experience. So you don't know, right? I mean, you get married to somebody, you think you know them pretty well, and then something horrific happens or whatever. You don't know how you're going to react. You don't know how she's going to react, or he's going to react or whatever. So you just do the best you can, like life. You do the best you can with the information you have, but you are never, and it is so hard. It is so hard in the beginning when you're so excited and you're so desperate to do a deal and you just want to get up onto the playing field. I get it. But it is, again, another skill to not rush into a deal. Do not be desperate to do a deal. Do not be desperate to partner up with somebody. But that being said, experience is a big deal to me. Adversity is a big deal to me. How people handle, one of my buddies, the one who said, "Hey, do you want to do it or not, stupid?" He I think we were talking decades ago, and he was talking about partnerships, and he just said, when we form a group, and there are always going to be problems that come up. There are always challenges in everything you do, especially real estate, anything. And so what he said is, somebody becomes a whiny bitch, every little thing they're complaining. And, one of our key things is don't be a pain in the ass. Be easy to work with. If there's a problem, work the problem. Do not add drama, because that's, like you said, we're kind of married for, I don't know, 3, 5, 7 years, however long the project goes. But, if you don't want to get bought out or never invited back again, work the problem. And so you just try and see, experience is a really big deal to me, how you deal with adversity. And again, you're never going to find out everything beforehand. And of course, the values, and you got to have some kind of chemistry with the people. And a big thing is you need to be complimentary, right? You need to know thyself, understand what you suck at, because that list is a lot longer than the list you're good at. That's how all of us are. We're good at what we value. And then mindset is a huge deal. If you can detect people thinking that everything is on the way, things aren't in the way. Things happen for you, things don't happen to you. It's the difference of having a strength mindset and a victim. If everything's happening to you, things happen for you. And it is a big stretch and takes a lot of work to see that it's all love out there. Even the stuff that is just so difficult. It's hard when you're like in the crucible, getting absolutely crushed, to see that it's happening for you, right? I never would have, I would have said, "Are you freaking kidding me?" if you would have said that to me at the time. But, that's how they purify gold, right? They melt it down and get the impurities out. And then when you getting crushed and melted in the crucible, it's not pleasant. It's not fun, but like that's all part of like standing back up. You get your ass kicked and you pop right back up. It's all the same thing. It's also, if you got to have that kind of mindset in your partner, you got to have some kind of, you don't have to be best buddies or anything, but you got to have some kind of chemistry and you got to build that trust. So that's a tough one, but it's
I
it's kind of
completely
a tough
agree
one for
with
me
you
to.
on
I'm
that.
sorry, go ahead, Sanjay.
As I said, no, I completely agree with you on that one, Todd. I think having that chemistry is something that's important. As you mentioned, you don't have to be the best of the buddies, having beer every single day in the
Right.
sharing a cold one every single evening or something like that. But at least you need to have a good communication between each other, should be comfortable enough, respectful to each other. Those are the keys. So thank you for that. But the next thing that I wanted to ask, Todd, was like, what kind of deals, according to you, in today's market is considered as a good deal? Because a lot of people got spoiled in the past couple of years, and seeing this big, cash flow and great back end and things like that. But now with the current situation, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think you move as things cycle, right? Like real estate does, as things get more difficult. Say your target is like say a C, you're doing value add and C areas, CB areas, C properties. Well, as things get tougher in the market, then you can move up and do Bs and maybe even get into some As is one thing. And when when the market's cycling, when the market's hot, money's easy to find, deals are hard to find. When money is hard to get, deals are easy to find, money's really hard to get. So, and it just cycles in between those two kind of extremes. And so right now, what a good deal is something that we could negotiate with the bank or a seller. We don't, we try to get into deals at like a 50% leverage position. And we'll say no a lot more than we'll say yes. And so once you get established with the brokers and you show them that you're a closer, then it just takes 1-2 good broker relationships to change your life. And So if we like a market and we know, what stuff's going to trade for, and we can get, so see, let me just give you an example of one that like we're working on. If we know in this Tulsa market that is at the end, a property like this will be trading at 85 a door, and we can get it for 50 a door, and it's rough and the vacancy's super high, and we know that all in will be at probably 72 a door. So we probably get something like that, more like 60, 65 a door. And then we're all in 72 a door, and we know market is 85 a door. That's something we'll say yes to. And there are distressed sellers and distressed situations and distressed assets all the time. There's just less of it. People inherit something's wrong. That's kind of an all the time business for us. And it just ramps up now when there's a portion of the market that is distressed that we're am I answering your question, Sanjay? I don't
Yeah,
even know.
no, you are kind of answering that because one of the things that you are kind of positioning it as to like what you're really looking for when you are because before you bring anything to the investors, these are the things that you really need to look for because at the end of the day, you cannot get in the right kind of cash flow, or you cannot bring in the right kind of back end if you don't get the property right to begin with. So
Exactly.
I understand where you're coming from on that. But Todd, you're also not only a full-time active investor, but you're also a coach. You're also a mentor, and I've noticed that you work with a lot of students and guide them. You mentioned about don't be in a haste on closing your first deal,
Mm,
right? Which everybody is trying to do. But then there's another thing that I think I'm pretty sure it was much easier for you to identify what your superpower was. When it comes down to others, it might not be as easy. So do you have, like when you're coaching someone, do you kind of try to help them identify what their superpower is?
absolutely, 100%. And I talked to him from the beginning, like, what are you naturally good at? What do you like to do, right? So with, I think you're like this too, Sanjay. If we go to a meeting or whatever, happy hour, we meet some new people and we're having conversations, and that gives us energy, right? And we're having fun. At someone who would be a compliment to me would, that is a dread to them. And that takes so much energy to do something like that. And that could be the perfect back of the house person for you. So things like that you just do naturally. You do, and they're fun to you. Because I think it's a lot of fun meeting new people and getting out there and mingling. I think that's one of the adventures in life, is seeing where each new person is an adventure. So yeah, and that's, yeah, and their personality tests and other things you can take that are helpful too. But yeah, it's what you do is you fight to stay in your lane, and then stay where your superpower is, and now you need to cover everything that's needed. But because if you're on the partnership level, you need to be able to cover everything. But you want to primarily keep everybody in their lane where they can really roll, right?
Absolutely.
So, and we haven't, just disclaimer, we have not done any syndications thus far. We've been all JVs, and you can do some really big deals with JVs. You just got to have some people with some deep pockets. So there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat, but I do know about syndications. We just haven't executed one yet.
So how did you find your deep pockets, Todd?
I was thinking about it. I had somebody here because I still have my real estate license. So I'm at a residential house here in Phoenix, and even though all I'm doing is this stuff, but I've been at this brokerage for years and years, and I've got this cool office right here in Scottsdale where how can I get an office like this in Scottsdale for $300 a month? You can't, unless it's. So anyway, sorry, what was the question, Sanjay? Mr. Shiny Object on track.
How did you find your first big pocket guy? Because you did
Oh,
a lot of
so
JVs, right?
yeah, somebody came by my office the other day that I'm kind of mentoring. He's like, why are you the chosen one? Why are you the guy that gets invited into all these deals and all that? And I had to think about that for a while, because, you and me, Sanjay, talking to people, it's like breathing. It's just natural. It's like building relationships. That's just, we don't even think about it, just natural. And so I had to think about it. And I think when I read that book when I was 14, graduated college, got married, went to the computer industry, eventually made my way to brokering, and so when I started, because I always wanted to invest, right? And then I'm like, oh shit, man, I don't have it. It takes money to invest. You can do no money down deals, but it's not everything takes money. Just doesn't have to be yours. But I didn't figure that out. I was like, oh, I got to work, and I still know people that are like in their 50s, 60s. I got to work, make this money, and then I can take down another property. And eventually, I figured out that so with things that come natural to you, I know these are long answers, Sanjay. Stay with me. The when things come naturally to you, then you don't think it's anything, right? But I could always find good deals. The market got super hot here in Phoenix back in like 04, 05. And but I still could find deals. And that's a skill, right? And I didn't, I just thought everybody could do that. No, wrong. And so if I could still find the deals, and there's this money sitting on the sidelines, people trusted me to be a professional and they knew I knew what I was doing. And then finally the light bulb went off. And so from having like 4 properties, I went up to like 24 properties when I started using other people's money. And so I've kind of forgotten that. So I've been used to using and working with investors and partnering on deals since like, maybe 2003, 2002, 2004. And now it's what, 2024. So I've done that for a long time. And so that getting the first one, I don't know. It was another real estate agent who was also investment minded. And, I was tapped out because I'd already done like 4 of them. And they probably had another like a 500 grand sitting around. And so that was probably the first one. But now fast forward, all these years, and now we have people that have millions and millions of dollars. And when you do these bigger deals, right, you need that. So I don't know.
I just thought that maybe you were a rock star. You had your own band. So I just thought maybe you met a couple of them out there. And you
out on tour. Out on the tour that we never went on, right? We actually made what he's talking about. I was in bands growing up, and now my son is doing the same thing back in college. And one band, this is not politically correct, but the punk band I was in was called the Retards back then. We thought that was funny, and we had made some T-shirts, and it had all these tour dates, and they all had a line through them: canceled, 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 canceled. So yeah, we never went on tour, but it was a great music scene at the University of Kansas. I'll tell you that. But anyway.
But this also shows that when you take your passion, that also creates an environment for you. It builds a certain character about yourself, and you bring that positive energy and the attitude to everything that you do. So having that positivity is so important. So Todd, I know that you listen to a lot of podcasts, you read a lot of books, and also do a lot of meditation and so on. So which is your favorite podcast and why?
Oh boy. It depends on where I'm at, right? So I've listened to Tom Bilyeu a lot. I listened to John DeMartini a lot back in the day. Abraham Hicks I listened to a bunch. So it depends, right? Howard Stern is a tremendous interviewer. But I'm the kind of person that, if it's something that's good, I will stay in for the whole 3-hour interview, right? Now, I might not listen to it all in one sitting, usually never, but I will go and finish all the way to the end. And I know Tom Bilyeu was talking. He goes, yeah, only the 1 or 2% of freaks are left now at the end of like a 2.5-hour interview. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. I'm one of those freaks. So it just depends on when, I like the Michael Blanc, his podcast I think is good. I never got into the deeper pockets, but I know a bunch of people have done that. Yeah, there's just always stuff all the time. And I'm always looking, and you need to mix it up, right? You don't want to stay in a rut. And another thing I was going to say too, Sanjay, is you have to get we get flowing and we get going. Number one, you just have to let stuff happen. Once you're flowing and you're having fun, just let it happen. That's usually where we get into trouble from a mindset point of things, is we block the flow. You can have anything you want if you just flow with it and let it happen, right? So
that's where the Todd spirituality comes in. So you just gotta let it flow, let the energy flow. There you go. Now, Todd, I know you also are on the road quite a bit, so you do a lot of audible. Instead of reading books, you listen.
Oh, yeah.
So which are some of your favorite books that you like, and why?
Oh boy. Okay. Books. Trying to think. You know what? I'm going to pull up my Audible right now because I'm drawing a total blank, even though I have been so deep in podcasts that my mind is all podcasts right now. So let me see Audible. Oh, come on. I got this new phone. Hold on. It's slow. Die with Zero was a great one that I read recently. It's a mindset one. Smarter, Not Harder is very good. The 2-Hour Cocktail Party I liked a lot. I just recently finished that one. Psychology of Money, Multifamily Millions by Dave Lindahl. Like that one. I'll have to come back to you on that because it's literally a whole bunch of books.
No,
Those are
I
the
know,
most
and
recent.
it's hard to keep track of every one of them when you are reading quite a bit of these, and
Yeah,
especially when you are driving and you're looking at audibles, it's like there's so much going on around you as well. So I get
exactly.
exactly where you're coming from. So Todd, one of the things you did mention was, you've been in this since '99. You've seen the ups and downs of this. You've gotten up, you've fallen, you've gotten up, and but there is, when you have done so many deals and having 6,000 doors, has there been? I'm pretty sure there must have been at least one or two incidents that had been very challenging for you. That you somehow had to get, you had to put in more effort than what you normally would in the others. Obviously, everyone comes with its own challenge. Every asset comes with its own challenges. But
Oh yeah.
what was the most challenging one for you, and how did you get out of it?
So we'll probably what you have to do in those situations, you will have so things are not going how you planned. Like you had laid out this whole plan for your investors and things are not going that way. And what you want to do is run and hide. And so that's when you do the opposite of what your body's telling you to do. Every cell in your body saying hide, you over communicate at those times. So that's what when problems are coming up, you over communicate, right? And so back when we had the Great Recession, like 07, 08, 09, we all lost. What you want to do is you want to protect the principal, right? If you can get people their money back and you don't get them their return, they can get squirrely when you don't give them their money back, when you lose their money. But back in 07, we all lost, right? It was all gone, and it was, we all, much as we tried, we all tried not to, we all drank the Kool-Aid, and things just kept, and it's intoxicating when you buy something and a month later you sell it for $100,000 profit and you did nothing to it. And it's just a house. It's not even a big building, right? And so yeah, you just have to communicate. And they went all the way down and back to the bank. I mean, several properties. And so you just got to communicate with the bank. You got to communicate with your investors. And you can only control what you can control, right? When something giant like the market's going to roll over the top of everyone. No one can stop the market. So you just have to adjust to it. And we thought that it was a whole lot of stress, right, for years at a time. But I thought that, okay, things are overheated, we're due for a correction, but I did not expect the whole world economy to almost go completely off the rails, which it almost did. So that's the best thing I can say is
No,
when principal's going to
I,
get
I,
lost.
I completely agree with you. I think majority of the investors who are investing, they do understand the risks that come with investments, right? But being a good operator is communication, as you talked about. As long as you communicate with them, you make them understand what the situation is, they'll work with you. More than anything else, if you're being honest with them, they will respect you more, and they'll
Yeah.
trust you more, and they'll invest in your property as well. So no, there were some great things that you talked about, Todd. Um, you know, I think failure is not when you get down. Failure is if you choose to stay down.
That's
Okay.
100%.
So, so that is definitely something that is there. I think you also mentioned about don't be in a rush to close on deals. You got to do what is right for the principal, and also the deal needs to work on its own. That's that. I think identifying partners, you talked about that. It's not only about just the values and everything, but it should be where you need to have that mutual respect and understanding because you're married to them for so many years. So a lot
And
of
one thing I forgot, Sanjay, sorry to interrupt, is transparency with a capital T.
yeah.
Transparency with everybody. Let people know what's going on. There's no substitute for honesty and directness. There's no, and don't sugarcoat anything. Transparency with a capital T, with your partners, with whoever, partners, investors, especially.
No, absolutely. One last question that I have for you. If there was one, networking is one of your strengths. If there were to be another skill set that you think that you could have improved, what would have that been?
I would say communication. I would probably, even though I'm pretty good at that, And I think what I tell people all the time, if you want to fast track this stuff, fundraising, get good at raising money, and that opens up all kinds of doors and accelerates everything for you. Because, it's the lubrication for the whole economy, for the whole world, right? Everything needs capital. So
Yep.
if you can raise capital, you can get all kinds of different deals pitched to you, real estate and otherwise. So
No, that is true, right? Like a lot of people shy away from it because they think it is hard, but it's not. Yeah, it comes with its challenges, but it is a skill set that can be learned and that can be improved upon. So, and I always tell them, like, always keep raising from
never
day
stops.
one. It never stops.
Never
Keep doing
stops.
it from day one. Don't wait until you find another project or you say, I'm going to find a project and then I'm going to go looking for it. No, I always say that, hey, capital raising, you start from day one. Keep telling people what you're doing, prepare them, and then go to them when you do have something. But
Right.
always
Never stop.
raising capital. Never
Never
stop.
stop. And there's unlimited money out there, right? That needs people they can trust. They need
Absolutely.
people and deals they can trust.
And
So, yeah.
and trust is something that comes with time and it is earned. It's not that somebody is just going to trust you like that, right?
100%.
Put
100%.
in all the things that is together. So, Todd, a lot of information that you shared with us. Also, as I said, you're a coach and a mentor. So, if somebody wants to get hold of Todd, what is the best way to get hold of Todd?
I would say, people tell you never to do this, but I'll put my cell phone number out there. And also, so text me is better than calling me. Or, you know what? Actually, this would be better. Just email me because I'll be able to keep track of it better that way because I'm on the road so much. So, Apartment Turnaround Partners is a company name I have. So, Todd, TODD, at APT for apartment, and then T for turnaround, partners with an S.com. APT partners.com. And Todd at. So that'd be the best way.
Everyone, those who have been listening to this and who want to get in touch with Todd, you know where to reach him. I definitely will suggest he's a great coach, he's a great mentor, great connector, and just a wonderful human being. So if anybody who are students and if there are, investors who want to invest in Todd's projects, or even Todd's old girlfriends who want to get back in touch with
Right.
them, you have his contact information now. So there you go, guys. Thank you, Todd. I appreciate you getting on the REI Secret Spill, Fast Track to Riches. Appreciate your time and all your wisdom.
Thank you, Sanjay. Much love to you, my brother.
Thank you.